Hello and welcome back to another reading vlog. Today, I don't know if you're noticing a lot of pink going on here. I've got this. I mean, it's not really that much pink, is it? Today's video, we are going to be reading books with pink covers. And I just thought it was like, you know, the season for the pink books to be brought back. It is spring. We've just kind of passed Valentine's Day. Everybody's in their romance mood, and definitely on that lead up to summer, I feel like that's when you kind of see all of your pink colourful books the most. So I just thought that I would dedicate a video to reading books purely with pink covers, and I have loads on my shelf that I could choose from, but I have read quite a lot of the pink covers there, and I'm just like not overly in the mood for all of those ones, but I have picked out a few here, and I'm not saying I'm going to get to all of these books in today's video. So I have Funny You Should Ask, and can I just say I'm in love with this cover. Like, I feel like everybody says it. It is just stunning, and I want to read it because I hope that this story is as good as the cover, because it is just amazing. And I need to just stop looking at this book on my shelf, and I need to finally get to it because I've definitely had this one, I would say, for a year now. Then we have this book here, Greta and Valden, and this is a very recent debut fiction, and I actually got sent this one a few weeks ago, so it's one that I definitely want to get to. I know that Spotify have it on their audiobooks, so I might possibly listen to this one. I also have You Made a Fool of Death with Your Beauty, and this is one that I did actually try and get into last year, as it was a book club pick, but I for some reason just never got the time to read it. It's not that I wasn't like enjoying it, because I think I just never really got to finishing it. Yeah, so I got 16 pages in, which is chapter 2, so this is one that I would definitely love to tick off the TBR this month. And I don't know what it is, but there's something about pink covers that just look absolutely gorgeous, and I don't know if this is going to be cheating in this video or not, but can I count this as a pink cover? Because like, I know it's white, but whenever I look at this book I just see the pink, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm really in the mood to read this book, and I'm maybe looking for excuses, but if I'm making the rules here, then I'm gonna say this is a pink cover. But please don't hate me. I don't know if I'll get around to it this week, but we'll see. It's definitely one that I want to read, but I think I will. I'll definitely try and tick off at least 2, maybe these 2 books, because they're 100% pink covers. Do you know what I mean? There's something about Remarkably Bright Creatures that I am just drawn to, and I really, really want to read. So maybe I'll get to this one in this video and we'll just say it's a pink cover. The book that I'm going to start reading today is Funny You Should Ask, and honestly, I don't really know a lot about any of these books. I think, well, this one's definitely a romance. I'm pretty sure one of them's famous, but honestly, I couldn't tell you a lot about it. I just know that it's a romance and it's meant to be very, very good. I've heard a lot of good things about this one. I'm definitely late to the trend because this was definitely popular on TikTok and just like other book influencers. So yeah, I'm definitely excited to get to this one, and I'm certainly in the mood for it. I'm really trying to avoid, you know, like doing videos just for the sake of it. Like, I want to read books that I genuinely want to read. So yeah, I think I'll start this one today. I don't know if we'll finish it. I'm not sure if it's a long book. It's just over 300 pages, well, 340 pages-ish. And yeah, I just think that it looks cute, and I'm hoping that the story's cute. I'm not really sure if I'm overly like in the mood for a proper romance, but I guess we'll see how this one goes. I'm not really sure if it's like super heavy in the romance or if you're following the characters more. But I'm going to get through a lot of this one today. I definitely have time this week. I am off work, so I'm definitely more free than I usually am, and I'm using this time to knock some books off my TBR because this month has been super slow. We're in like the middle of March now, it feels. Well, kind of the middle. And I've read 1 book, so that's not fun. Let's just get into it. I need to stop rambling, sorry. the next day, and as you've seen, I have been reading Funny You Should Ask, and I just thought it was a good time to update you all. This story, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not like obsessed with it. I'm only 80 pages in and nothing is gripping me to this story. I feel like not a lot is happening, and the first 80 pages were talking about the same, like one day and the events that happened that day, which weren't like that interesting. It was just like a normal day in my opinion, and it's repeated quite a lot, and we don't really know why this day is so significant because it is talked about a lot 10 years later. Our main character Chani, she's like a journalist, I guess. She interviews celebrities, and she is interviewing a very famous celebrity who's about to be the new James Bond, so he's like a big deal, and she like just spends one day with them, goes to a premiere with them. I don't know, it could be more days, but so far, like 80 pages in, we've only heard of one day, and I don't know, it just feels very slow to me. And yeah, I'm definitely gonna read more of it today, but it's not that exciting, and nothing is like gripping me to the story. I'm also getting quite distracted whenever I read it. Like, I find myself picking up my phone a lot, which is just kind of annoying. Like, I hate not being so obsessed with the book that I'm reading, and I don't know, I'm kind of confused because a lot of people that I trust, like in their opinions and stuff, like there's people on Goodreads that I follow, and usually I love the same books that they do, and they've all given this book a 4 star, so I'm really hoping that it does turn around and get really, really good. But I also don't know if this is a thing with just me and romances. Like, I am very harsh on romances. It takes a lot for me to like them, I feel, and yeah, this one so far just isn't doing it. Like, there hasn't really been any romance so far. I mean, it's only 80 pages. Maybe I'm being way too harsh because, I mean, there is 330-ish pages, so we obviously have quite a lot to go, but I just thought something would have been gripping me by now to this story. That is my updates for this one so far. And at the same time, I have also been listening to the audiobook of Greta and Valden. And this one, I don't know what this is actually categorized as, but I would say it's definitely more literary fiction than romance. They talk about, so Greta and Valden are brother and sister, and they basically just have awful love lives. I mean, I don't think it's awful, but they kind of portray it to be awful. I think it's just kind of like normal relationship drama if you're like in your late 20s, early 30s, I would say. I'm not gonna lie as well, I'm not obsessed with this one either, which is just so annoying because I really wanted at least one of these books to be a 5 star. I really thought Funny You Should Ask I would be loving a lot more, but honestly I think I am enjoying Greta and Valden more than Funny You Should Ask because I just feel a connection more to the characters, and I feel like they're more like real people. Like, do you know what I mean? I feel like Funny You Should Ask is purely like fictional characters in my brain, and I don't really care for them that much, whereas I'm kind of interested to the lives of Greta and Valden. As I was saying, this one just follows the lives of our 2 main characters, and there's not really any plot happening, which I really don't mind. Like, I love just character-based stories quite a lot of the time, but they definitely have to be done in a way that is entertaining and like easy to follow for me to really enjoy it. And I think this kind of does it, but there's definitely bits in the story where I don't really care about, and it almost feels like a first draft of a really good story. Like, I feel like this could have been maybe executed a lot better, but then again, it's not a bad book. Like, I'm enjoying it, and I am like somewhat entertained because I don't want to put it down, you know. I want to know about the characters. I think I am like quite far into this book. I would say I'm maybe like 250 pages into it, but then again, I am listening to it, so I'm not overly sure. I also feel like listening to audiobooks will make the book a lot better because you can hear the different voices and adds a bit of personality to it. So I don't know if that's gonna affect how I like it. I'm starting to think if I just sat down and read this, I could possibly be quite bored, and I don't know if I would finish it. So yeah, I have to kind of see how this book wraps up to really know my overall opinion, but that's just how I'm feeling. I am enjoying the books I'm reading, it's just I'm not loving them, and it's kind of putting me off romance books, and it's definitely pushing me towards reading this one next. not enjoying about this book as well is how unrealistic it is. Like, I just can't imagine going 10 years with like not seeing somebody and still being stuck up on one day that you had together, and it wasn't even a romantic day. Maybe it was. I mean, I don't think we have the full story yet, but it just seems a little bit dramatic. So it is now the following day, and I actually did finish both Greta and Valden and Funny You Should Ask yesterday. This is the one that I like physically read, and the other one I was listening to on Spotify. I think I definitely already said that, but I did end up finishing Greta and Valden, which I didn't think I actually would finish as quickly as I did, but I put it on the like 2x speed, and that just like really sped it up. It wasn't like an overly long audiobook. I think it was maybe 8-9 hours. I feel like I've kind of expressed my feelings on this book, and they still stand the same, because this book was so difficult for me to get into. I never ended up getting into this one, and I got to 150 pages, and I just, after 150 pages, I'm not gonna lie, I just skimmed a lot of it because nothing was happening, and I just found it to be very, very boring. But I know this is a very like controversial opinion. A lot of people love this book, and there was a lot of hype around it, and I don't know why I couldn't get into it. It really, really fell flat for me, unfortunately. I felt like I knew what was going to happen, and that is the case with a lot of romances. Like, there's particular tropes that always happen. There's always a third act conflict in them as well, but this one was just so obvious, and I didn't care about the characters. I didn't actually think that our main character was likable at all. I actually really preferred the guy in this story, and I thought it would have been better to have his point of view and like really just learn a bit more about him and how he was feeling throughout a lot of this, because I just really did not find our main character Chani to be interesting or likable at all. And I did give this one a 2-star, and I'm not gonna lie, I think that's being very generous. I don't know, like, I just feel a little bit too mean giving any book 1 star, because I guess there's some good aspects to this book, and if you haven't, you know, read a lot of romances, this could be one that you could really enjoy, because I just feel like I've read this story before. Like, I knew where it was going and I knew it was going to happen. It fell flat for me, as I said. But I also think it's harder for me to get into romances because I really am like a high stake fantasy kind of person. Like, I really love the drama and the action and just more tension. I felt like these characters didn't have any tension at all, and I just found it to be a little bit dramatic the way our main character fell in love with this guy after one day where there was like no romance involved, and then 10 years later she's still hung up on this one day where literally nothing happened. Like, it felt like a very normal day. No books are meant to be unrealistic sometimes, but this I don't think was meant to be. I don't know. There's a lot I could maybe say about this book, but I don't really want to tarnish a book completely because it feels wrong. I don't know why. Then we read Greta and Valden, and this was purely on audiobook. I never actually picked up the physical book of this one, and it is a beautiful cover. Like, as I said before, just love pink covers, but there's something about this that I absolutely love. How I feel about this book, kind of similar to Funny You Should Ask, but this one I felt something more for the characters. I definitely cared about them a lot more. I really actually liked the different point of views of Greta and Valden, and I wanted to know more about their story. I just felt that there could have been so much more depth to the characters and depth to the story, actually. It was just a good book for me, and just, I don't really know what to say about this one. Overall, I did give this one a 3-star, I think, maybe a 3.5, because I did find it entertaining. It's just one of those books that's definitely character driven. There's not a lot of plot, like there's not a lot going on. And I mean, the writing's not amazing, but it obviously kept me entertained because I wanted to continue the story, and I really liked the audiobook actually. So if you do have Spotify and you have the audiobook version, I don't know if there is actually different versions, but I really liked it on the audiobook. There was different actors for the different characters, and yeah, it just felt a lot more real to me. However, I do think if I sat down and read this book that I maybe wouldn't have finished it, because it's definitely a story where I think I could have been easily bored. But I don't know, because I listened to the audiobook, so I guess we'll never know. But yeah, a 3/3.5 stars for this one, I think. This book that I'm going to pick up is I always forget the title of this one. You Made a Fool of Death with Your Beauty, and I actually love that title. Love this cover. Like, there's literally no faults with this cover at all. It's absolutely stunning. It's one that I know is meant to be really, really good, but for some reason I'm never in the mood for it. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm not totally in the mood for it right now, but I've got to stick to the pink covers, and I really am in the mood for this one. So I might alternate between them. I know this isn't a pink cover. Like, it is ridiculous. I'm even trying to say it is a pink cover, but I might read some of this one as well. But yeah, I think I'm definitely going to pick this one up again, because I did read 2 chapters of it, and it's not that I wasn't enjoying it, it's just I think I was reading other things at the time. I am kind of scared if I don't enjoy this one, because I think it will definitely put me in a book slump if I don't enjoy it, because I really didn't love those other books, and I just kind of felt it coming on, and it's the same kind of genre as the other 2, like romance. I think this one will be kind of similar to Greta and Valden. Like, I don't think it's going to be like heavy on the romance and the like familiar tropes that you may see. So I finished this book yesterday, and this was like such a nice surprise, because I didn't expect to like this book as much as I did. I like really did not know the story going into this one. I thought that the romance was going one way, and then it just fully did like a complete 180, and yeah, I just wasn't expecting it, and I think that really made it a lot better for me. So if you're going to go into this book, definitely go into it blind, because I don't know, there's just something about it that I just really enjoyed. I thought it was so entertaining, and yeah, very, very easy to read, and the writing is like beautiful as well, and yeah, just such a good story, and the cover is amazing. Like, so good. This book follows our main character, who has recently become a widow, and it's basically set 5 years after her husband like very tragically passes away, and we're basically just following her love life and how she navigates dating again, and the grief that comes with that whenever you do start dating again after, you know, losing the love of your life. And I just thought that it was portrayed very, very well, and yeah, I just loved the story. I thought all the characters were very well rounded, and there was a lot of depth to them emotionally, and yeah, I just really, really liked it. I gave this one a 4-star out of 5, and the only reason I didn't give it a 5-star is because it just wasn't giving me that like 5-star feeling, but I still thought this was an amazing book, and I would recommend it to absolutely anybody who is like looking for a romance, but maybe more on like the deeper side of things. And there is a little bit of spice in this, and yeah, just putting the warning out there in case you don't like spice, there is like some spice in this. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. Again, as I was saying, I'm definitely judging the book by this cover as well, because it's just so stunning, and it lived up to this cover. I'm obsessed with this one. I think it's actually like one of my favorite book covers that I own. Like, I don't know, there's just something about it that is stunning, and it's like got that little trim as well. I don't know, I just love it. Obsessed. So to wrap this video up, the books that I read were Funny You Should Ask, Greta and Valden, and You Made a Fool of Death with Your Beauty. And I felt like I definitely had a range of emotions reading some of these books, and it definitely maybe taught me to not always judge a book by its cover, and I should definitely read more about like what the story is before just like picking up a book and expecting to love it, because it has such a beautiful cover like all of these books. I'm obsessed with pink covers, as I probably said earlier in this video. But yeah, to go through the books that I read. So the first one was Funny You Should Ask, and I'm not gonna lie, I forget everything about this story already, apart from the repetitiveness of that one day that they had together, and there's such mundane things that they did that apparently equaled a love story. Not to be harsh, but like I just did not enjoy this book, but again, obsessed with the cover. I think I gave this one a 2-star, and that was being generous in my opinion. I read Greta and Valden, which I actually listened to on audiobook on Spotify, and I definitely think that the audiobook helped my like rating on this. It definitely just creates more of an immersive experience almost, because you hear the different characters and like you hear the different voices and stuff like that. It just creates more of a story almost, and I'm not completely sure that I would have loved this book if I just solely read it from the book. I don't know, I just like have that feeling that I maybe would have DNF'd it, but as I did listen to it in the audiobook, I only have that to judge it on, and I enjoyed this. I didn't think it was like awful, I just think it was a good book, and that was pretty much all I had to say on it. I think I gave this one a 3-star or a 3.5, but I think I definitely will settle for a 3-star on this one, which is not a bad book at all. It's just, it wasn't the best. As I was just saying, I read this book and I gave it a 4-star. I really, really liked this one, and it was just very enjoyable to read, and yeah, I've already shared my opinions. I'll not go over it all again, but yeah, I really like this book. So that brings us to the end of this video, and if you want me to do this video again but possibly with like other colours, I would definitely be interested in doing that. So just let me know if you enjoyed this, and if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one very soon.